entertain a motion to accept them?
So moved.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
Any additions or corrections?
Yes.
Yeah.
Under the wastewater treatment plant, the quote submitted by Hodgkins and Sons, someone questioned whether it was for the, I wrote for the demolition of the old plant, and I think it was Carl said just the building, not the plant. Is that correct?
Yeah.
That's correct.
So that's a correction. And then,
You guys still have that quote?
I have it electronically.
and then there was a question about whether, what the village, about the bankruptcy proceeding, whether the village was a creditor or needed to be established, and whether a lien is the next appropriate step. Was that discussed
For what?
for the bankruptcy?
Oh. You mean what we were just talking about?
Yeah, I mean, I can give less detail
Yeah,
rather than more.
there's not much, yeah.
Okay, so I'll
We're
amend the minutes
we've
to
been
give,
notified that there's a bankruptcy, yeah,
I'll give
and
less
we're
detail so
pursuing
that I
it.
won't be
Pursuing
wrong.
our,
Okay.
right,
Option?
pursuing what? Mr. Carl, Mr. Carl.
So I move that we accept the minutes as amended.
Is there a second? I second it. It's Ben's busy.
We're commenting on the copy.
All in favor, say
Of the
aye.
minutes?
Aye.
You want to copy the minutes?
Okay, what's up?
Next, all right.
And to the first motion of accepting the minutes as amended. Do we have to do that again?
No?
Could you move your water bottle, because I can't see your
Sure,
mouth.
sorry about that.
I depend on that.
That's my microphone.
To hear.
It's recording the session.
Nice.
Okay, maybe we'd like Dexter to come down.
No,
We'll give you
Thank
15 minutes.
15
Then you gotta
minutes.
go home.
Okay.
We have this wonderful outline
That's
of,
good. I didn't bring my copy, but I'll
here it
flip over on
is.
yours. All right.
Did you get that?
Yes. Well, I
That's
didn't
what he's
send it
gonna
to
talk
everyone.
about today. Oh, you did?
I sent it
Yes,
to
I did.
Celia and I copied you.
Oh,
I saw
anybody?
it. You saw it too? Oh, I copied you too? Okay.
Yeah, that's where Gov is, everybody.
Yep. Okay. Oh, really?
No,
Secretary?
not unless
Not-
you send it to the person.
All right, sorry, I stand corrected.
So, work completed in November. The incoming sewer line, the drainage swale along the north property line, I think that's north. Exterior doors, ceiling work has been done. Working on interior walls, painting, and the roof. The roof is done. The incoming electric service finally got installed in November. That's a milestone. There's been some wiring done as well as process piping. Work plan for December is more process piping.
What is process piping?
That's the piping inside the treatment plant.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Oh, for the process.
yeah, it's mostly around
Oh, okay.
the UV units.
Okay.
But there's a few other miscellaneous things. The blower piping is significant. They haven't started that yet, but the UV piping is in place. They were putting the UV units in the day I was there.
Oh,
They're probably both in by now, huh?
Both UVs
Yeah.
are in, yes.
Yeah. Schedule's continuing to slip. So this is becoming significant. Startup is delayed from March 6th, which was the November schedule, to March 19th, which is the December schedule.
Oh, we're still in February.
February, well, the prior delay, the October scheduled date was January 31st. And that was moved back to March 6th in the November schedule. That should say, that second one should say November, not December. Prior delay, January 31st, from the October schedule to March 6th for the November schedule. And that was due to October weather. The latest one is due to November weather. The snow and things slowed them down. The other thing that's sort of going to be an accumulating delay is that they had anticipated doing their clear water testing and startup in November and December. Now they're looking at doing it in February and March, and it's going to take them longer to do that. So they'll be further delays as they try to do this work in the middle of winter rather than in the milder fall. So this is the issue with them, is they would like a 30-day extension of their substantial completion date, and they'll continue working, but slower because it's colder, to get the start up as soon as possible. The option is to have no extension for substantial completion, but a shutdown for the winter, and then they don't come back until May and resume building on the same clock. So, do you all follow the significance of that, or?
No.
Okay.
No,
So-
and also, can we just come back?
Yeah.
The delays are due to October weather and November weather.
Yeah.
Can we be a little more specific?
Sure, in October, there was a lot of rain days, and they had scheduled to be doing the roof, enclosing the building.
Yeah.
And because of the nature of that construction, the rain was a significant delay. The November weather was snow. Exactly what construction that related to, I'm not sure that I can tell you exactly what that was right now. They're looking for a couple weeks more time as a result of the snow and extreme cold
Okay.
in November.
So I guess coming back to the significance of work.
Okay, so substantial completion is when the owner takes over operation of the facility, when you've got use of the facility. And that would be that the SBRs are tested and online, receiving wastewater and producing compliant effluent. So that's a milestone date in their contract that they have to meet. If they don't meet it, they have to pay liquidated damages. And liquidated damages are $1,200 a day for every day past the deadline.
Okay.
So if they continue going now and try to do the work they intended to do in the fall, but do it in midwinter conditions, they will not reach their substantial completion date on time, which I think is sometime early March right now.
Okay.
They think they're gonna miss it, just because right now the schedule shows them, well, I think they miss it with their March 19th deadline. I think they miss it by about 10 days. And they think it'll slip even further because they're gonna try to do stuff. It'll depend on the weather. But they anticipate that they'll be slowed down even more by trying to do it midwinter.
So the other option is to,
Shut down now. Then their clock stops now. This is
Mhm.
just for purpose of discussion. Say we
Yeah.
stop December 8th.
yeah,
They've got December 8th to March 8th, 3 months left till they have to reach substantial completion. We restart that clock when they come back in the spring, so they'd come back May 1st maybe.
Mhm.
They would have May, June, July would be their 3 months
To reach substantial.
to reach substantial completion, which they're confident they can do in warmer weather, but it puts off startup of the plant till then.
if they don't do that, and if they continue, they may run into other kinds of weather that will, then they'll be putting it off and putting it off.
Yes, yes, yeah,
Pretty much inside now.
yep. Right.
So the work is pretty much inside now. So then the weather shouldn't affect it that much?
Well, it will affect the startup because that involves putting clean water in the SBR, running the blowers,
Mhm.
water,
Mhm.
and below freezing temperatures is difficult to deal with. There's a lot of risk of damaging the equipment.
So
And just-
shouldn't, the third option be that they continue with as much as they can now, and then stop, and then come back when they can do this stuff that's not gonna damage?
If they're gonna, well, so, that's an option, but they would like to preserve as much time for when they come back as possible.
Oh,
So they'd rather stop sooner than
Oh.
later, rather than just stop the day before they run out of time. It only gives them one day when they come back to catch up.
oh,
So the extension, and they will keep working and get the plant running as soon as they can. The extension of time, let's say it was a month, and the dates are correct, which would be March 8th to April 8th. There'd be no costs associated with that extension as far as Penta goes. You would potentially be exposed to more costs from us because we would need to be on site for an extra 30 days.
So somebody
For
would
that.
be there. But nothing would be
Right.
happening.
No, they'd be happening. No, we would only be on site if there was construction going on.
Oh, okay.
There'd be no cost to you from Penta for an extra 30 days, but you would need us on site for that 30-day period.
Yeah, but what are you doing on site if they're not there?
They would be there. If they got an extension in time, they would stay there, and they would keep
Oh,
working
I see.
until they got the
Oh,
plant
so-
running.
Okay. But if they close down, then you're gone and they're gone.
Yes, yeah.
But the plant still means to be kept warm or whatever it is.
No, they could leave the SBR tanks empty.
So the whole
And
thing
they-
could just be left there, no?
Yep.
No heating, no nothing?
Right. But Rob would have to limp along for 6 months
Right.
with the plant the way it is. So I think that's probably your greatest risk is, will the plant last 6 more months or 3 more?
Well, sooner the better we stop it, but that's my opinion. But can we pull Rick off?
Okay, so we've been talking about that, and I have not discussed it with Jonathan Harries yet. But we would be willing to reduce our coverage to part-time if that was acceptable to you and also acceptable to USDA. We would find a way to staff the inspection 2 or 3 days a week. We'd send someone down. We don't have anyone local who could stop for a couple hours a day, but we could do it with someone.
Is this with the shutdown
Is,
or the not shutdown?
They work right through with that 30-day extension.
Okay.
Well, with or without, actually. If they're,
Oh,
for the project moving forward,
Yeah.
all the construction is up out of the ground. You're not gonna miss anything by not being there every minute of the day. We could come in and check in on them every couple of days.
Is-
And keep track of the work
is
that
Rick
way.
the resident engineer?
Yes.
Yeah,
Lawrence, yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah,
So-
because everything's exposed, so you'd see it.
Yeah, and in that case, you could do the 30-day extension without any added cost from us.
So
Right, if we went to part-time, we could cover that extra 30
the 30 days extension is so that,
So that Penta avoids the $1,200 a day
oh yeah, at the end.
penalty for the
Okay.
period of roughly
Okay.
March 8th to April 8th.
So without the contract in front of me, is it their option whether or not to take the winter shutdown?
No, not entirely. I believe it needs to be a mutually agreeable shutdown. You need to agree to it as well. So you could force them to meet the substantial completion date, to stick to that. But I would advise you that they would have a potential for a claim because of the weather situation. I think the October, November weather this year was unusual, and the work they had scheduled was critical to their schedule, and they weren't able to do it. So if you did get into a situation where the penalty situation, where we didn't grant them extension of time and told them to keep going, and they don't meet April 8th, if they did have to pay 30 times $1,200 a day, which is $36,000, there's a potential that they could go to court to dispute that.
Right, in which case we wouldn't receive the
Yeah.
penalty, but we won't receive the penalty if we grant the
No,
extension.
you get the penalty because you hold the money. So, yeah,
Right.
right.
But we may have to reimburse that.
Mm-hmm.
And they're gonna, the village
But
gets
if we
the
grant the
$3,600?
extension, we're not gonna.
Yep.
Huh?
Wait a minute, one at a
Yes.
time? What?
Yeah, it's deducted from their payment if you enforce it. It's very rare that liquidated damages.
I thought it was
are
just to
enforced.
cover the resident engineer's time
Well,
and your expense.
so anyway, in the end, you've got $36,000. You can use it to cover your costs incurred because of his delay. If we are your only cost, and for us full-time, I think it's about $20,000 a month, you'd have 16,000 left over, which would be reasonable to return to the contractor when all is said and done.
Well, so, and also if you start paying penalties of $1,200 a day, maybe you start moving a little too fast and things, when money is involved in that way.
Yeah. Well, we've got a.
I mean, I'm sure they're good, but still,
We've got a responsible general contractor. I mean,
But
they
still.
know what they're doing.
yeah.
Yeah.
I guess I'm trying to see what the benefit to the
Yeah.
village would be to grant this extension.
It gets the plant running. Oh, rather.
I mean, why would we do that? That seems almost irresponsible to grant it.
Mhm.
When the worst case, if we don't grant the extension and don't permit the winter shutdown,
Mhm.
then the plant gets finished as soon as possible.
Yep.
Under that scenario,
Yeah.
we're able to withhold some penalty money, which we may have to repay. So worst case is we're not out anything,
Right. Right.
and the plant's done as soon as possible. But there's potential that we may recover some
See,
of that penalty.
you'll probably see a claim later.
But it wouldn't be for any more than what we'd already retained.
Right. Well, it could be. It could be.
Under what scenario could that be?
It'd be hard for me to speculate.
Yeah.
But once you go to court, a contractor is likely to seize on the opportunity to file a greater number of claims. If the door's open and they go into that venue, it's likely that they would pile on other claims, frivolous or not, but just anything that might stick to the wall in that process. So I think the downside would not, with your plan, is that you'd end up with a disgruntled contractor. And you'd be headed to a claim situation. And that would really be sort of an unknown thing. So I think it's been beneficial to maintain good relationships.
Right.
If we were to grant this extension,
Mm-hmm.
and they would continue working to substantial completion, that wouldn't slow us down any
No.
beyond, in other words, it wouldn't get us any slower, any faster than if we just forced them to stick to it.
Right. The worst case with that is if you keep us on full-time,
Mhm.
because you've got to pay us full-time for that extra
Yeah.
time.
But there's a concern also about if they're trying to do something in the winter that could damage the equipment.
That's all their risk.
Uh,
But yes, I mean, trying to work in the very cold is slower. So they're anticipating that rather than damaging equipment, they're going to move slower. They'll wait, for example, they'll wait for windows of good weather to complete a task rather than do it when it's 20 below for a week. So they may lose a week to that extreme cold.
But if equipment becomes damaged and needs to be replaced, that delays things again.
Yes.
Too. So
Yeah.
you take a risk.
Yeah. Yeah. That's probably not a situation they put themselves in.
And then it's still under warranty for 1 year,
Yes.
the whole plant.
Yep.
The $4 million plant's got a 1-year warranty.
Under for preventative repair.
There's some parts that have longer warranty, but there's a general warranty for 1 year for general construction.
I'm assuming the roof has a warranty,
Yeah, the roof.
would be one
Some of
them.
the equipment does too.
Yeah.
What happens if we were to grant the extension and they run into further delay?
I don't know. I guess there's a potential they'd want more
They
extension.
would want more
Yeah.
extension.
Yeah.
What happens if we grant the extension and then we have an extremely mild winter? Do they just keep working
They
as
may
much?
not need they may be able to catch up on their schedule.
So they would take advantage of any
Yes,
mild
yeah.
spells?
Yeah, I think they would.
Oh, yeah.
Don't you?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, anytime he's thinking about pouring concrete outside this week, just because of what we got.
Yeah.
Huh? Well, it's for this pad for the stairs. It's all above ground, it's not digging a hole.
Thank you.
There's ways to do winter concrete.
Well. 6-1, half dozen the other.
Well, when would you think of pulling rec? Soon?
Yeah, I mean,
To go to like once a week or, you know,
I think
maybe
it'd be at
come
least twice a week.
Wednesday, Friday, or
Yeah, scheduled to be determined.
So it seems like that would be a wise move regardless at this point.
Reducing our resident time.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that
Yeah.
we're
We do
not,
need concurrence with the USDA. I think that
Right.
might be easy.
um,
I wasn't supposed to talk about it till we talked to him, but it came up, so,
well,
yep.
yeah, and I've,
Yeah.
um,
So, I
seems
mean,
like the
I
type
think
of
that
thing
makes
he
sense.
would be open
Yeah.
to if
Yeah.
it's something that the trustees support.
Mhm.
Um,
well, that way, if he's less his time, and then they catch up, and all of a sudden they start doing startups, then he needs to be back on.
yeah, I mean, it puts a little bit of time in the bank, I think.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it does, and then if startups.
Yeah,
needs
we'll
to
be
there.
flexible with the schedule.
Wow.
If we need to be there every day for a certain week, we can be. But certainly the weeks around that kind of stuff there'll be many of them.
Right.
And it'll help your budget along, yeah.
So what is the extension that's being requested?
I believe he said 30 days.
30
Yeah,
days.
he didn't make a formal, he mentioned it at the meeting, I think he
He
said
said
30
30
days,
days,
yeah.
And is that 30-day extension period contingent on anything? Is that assuming certain weather from here on out?
I think the only contingency is that if he's not gonna get it, he's gonna request a shutdown right away, formally.
So walk us through how that would go. What happens at that point?
Well, it's the same thing I talked about where you head into a claim situation. He's gonna write you a letter that says he needs a 30-day extension because of the weather events of October, November.
Yeah.
We have not looked at it in detail, but as far as a straight face test, I buy that argument. So we would likely advise you to accept that extension.
Right. I was
Um,
I was referring more to you. You said that
Okay.
if the extension was not granted,
Mhm.
that he would request an immediate shutdown.
Right,
Right.
right.
So
So he's gonna
how
request a
does that, How does
shutdown.
that request?
You have to
process-
agree to the shutdown. Right,
Okay.
okay.
So
I guess
so
it doesn't
we,
relate to the
So at that
extension.
point, we either accept the request for shutdown or we do not
Mhm.
accept it.
Right.
So
You force him to work in the winter.
So if we accept it,
Mhm.
then then it shuts down and the clock stops ticking,
Right.
and then there's a preset time when it would start back up. Is that how that works on the winter shutdown?
Yes, again, it would be a mutually agreeable time. So usually it's early to mid-May, depending on weather again.
Is that time set now or is it set
It's usually,
closer to May?
it'll be set closer to May.
So it would be open ended at this point as to when the startup. would be.
I don't know that I'd recommend being open-ended, and maybe a not later than date.
Is it the 15th of
They-
May seems late.
Well, roads are posted generally till May
Oh.
1st, so it's
Oh.
sort of a traditional date. There's frost in the
Okay.
ground,
Oh.
even after May 1st.
Okay.
You get frost in the ground down here after May
Mhm.
1st, yeah, so.
So if they-
It's a traditional thing, but I mean, with what they've got to do, they may come back in April. It's gonna sort of depend on their schedule.
So if he comes and he formally asks us for shutdown, and we say no,
Right.
then,
He will have the weather ahead of him, on top of the weather behind him, to request further extension or request claims later if he's into a penalty situation.
if we say no, but we want the extension, we want the shutdown, I mean, the extension.
Yeah. Then I think he's likely to meet the
Start
the substantial,
date.
the extended
Right,
substantial
yeah.
completion date
Okay,
and avoid the penalty.
okay.
Yeah.
So if he comes in, if he asks us for a shutdown, then automatically he's gonna need the 30 days, right? Does he automatically get it?
No, if he asks for the shutdown, he won't need it because he'll be shutting down. Say he shut down
Oh,
December
I
8th.
see. Oh, I see what you
Let's say
mean.
he shuts down
Okay.
January 8th.
And he has all
That's
those.
2 months ahead.
Yeah, okay, I get it.
And he can take those 2 months, which will be February, March, or
Yeah.
January, February.
He just
And make
exchange them for the other
Yeah,
2 months.
further
Okay.
down.
Make them, May and
Okay.
June.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
If he gets his 30-day extension and meets his substantial completion, then does he still shut down? Fresh? I mean, is there a
He may
shutdown
request
schedule?
a shutdown. They can request a shutdown at any time. So I guess if we think that through, if the plant is up and running, this is what we've talked about always, that once it's up and running, if he wants to shut down and come back in spring, we're fine. We've set some guidelines on what we expect to be running, everything but the flow equalization tank. And we've actually made a contingency plan
Right.
since then.
so the shutdown date could be, is a fluid thing? I mean, it could be.
Yes, yeah, you could request it at any time. And if you agree to it, like when he reaches substantial
Mhm.
completion, it's a good time to agree to it. And if that is mid-March, you'd basically be giving him 2 months off, March 15th to May 15th,
Mhm.
for extended final completion,
Mhm.
which is a second date that he has to meet. It's a certain number of days after substantial completion. I don't remember off the top of my head what those dates are.
Yeah, and it was my impression that the original plan was to achieve the substantial completion roundabout early January was my recollection.
It was going to be a Christmas
It was
present.
Christmas.
Yeah.
So you know,
Yeah.
and then they would
It's got a week.
take a
Yeah.
and then they would take a winter shutdown and then come back
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
complete the
Yeah.
I don't know what the term is, non-essential
Mhm.
part of the work.
Yeah.
Landscaping.
After that landscaping
Yeah.
work.
So some of the earlier delays were equipment
Yeah.
delivery
Yeah.
things. Kind of that's what pushed it back
Right,
into
so push
February.
back and-
Right. That's sort of on him. Those kinds of things.
Mhm.
His vendors,
Mhm.
his coordination.
Mhm.
That's what drives that. That he's not asking for time because of that. It's solely because of November and December. I'm sorry, October and November. And October was directly related to the roof installation. They needed that building enclosed and they weren't able to do the roof work because you don't want plywood out in the rain. And the roofers can't stand on that roof when it's raining.
Do you have any sense of how much time there is till completion?
Oh, in between? If you do
Well, I mean, from now until,
final completion?
yeah, well,
Till they get the plant running?
yeah. Are we talking months or 3 months?
They're saying they'll have it up in
Mid-March.
Mid-March?
Yeah, so
Okay.
that's
Mid-March
only
and
3
mid-April.
months.
So,
Yeah.
I mean,
But then there is additional work beyond that still.
Yeah, on the outside.
Seating,
Yeah.
grading, final
Sidewalks.
grade.
Mm-hmm.
the flow equalization tank.
Yeah.
Some, at least the minimal amount of demolition that's in the
Mhm.
contract, all that needs to happen.
But in the meantime, the plant would be operating?
Yes.
Wow. Anybody have any thoughts? What do you think?
I think we should give him the 30 days, but let go to Rick to like part-time, so that we can save money on the RPR,
Then it doesn't cost you
and
anything.
it doesn't cost us anything.
Yeah.
And then when we need him back, you know, he can still do his weekly inspections. Because there's still stuff going in, but it's nothing's in the ground, everything's above ground. I mean, they're putting siding on, they're doing fencing right now, electrical's doing electrical work. And those guys are doing pads for the blowers and UV stuff. So I mean, it's all stuff you can actually physically see. There's nothing really hidden anymore behind the walls type of stuff.
So if we give them the 30 days, they'll just keep working as long
They'll
as they
just
can?
keep working right through, and then, like I said, it's gonna.
And then whenever they decide it's too much to work in the,
Once they get it up and running, they'll no. If they give them 30 days, you give them an extension. They're to stay there until it's running, and then they can go away for a while until the weather clears to come back and do.
And they do
Unless
wanna
they
get,
request another extension.
Well, no, they still got another 30 or 60 days to finish the grading outside, just because you don't want to do it.
Yeah, I
You
think
can't do it in
it's-
the wintertime type of thing. I mean, grade right now is kind of close, but it's not finished. You know, they still got to bring in base for topsoil. They got to bring in tar and all that stuff, which will be done in the springtime. They're not going to do it. I mean, I even asked Jeff Marsden last week if he's going to tar for Saxtons, or jokingly. He said no.
but the time for that is all in the,
But they still
In the
got to, you know,
schedule.
so you got substantial completion, then you got final completion,
mhm.
which is doing all the planting the grass and fine tuning everything outside, basically.
Yeah.
Doing your housekeeping.
So contractually, the substantial completion right now needs to be done by March.
I wish I had, I think it's March 8th, but everything in my head is the 8th of the month, so. Do you have
I think it is.
any of my notes from,
Okay.
I think it
March
is
8th.
March
So
8th.
they were planning on having that done, you know, substantially early, right? Christmas.
Oh, yeah.
yeah, they were gonna be
Exactly.
2 months early, yeah.
Okay, and now they're looking at it being 30 days late.
Yep,
Or,
yep.
that's what they're asking for, but it looks like they said the 19th of the meeting. So what's that, another 10, 15 days? And like I said, if the weather goes the other way, they can make up time. But we don't know what the Mother Nature's gonna throw at us here in the next month and a half. You know, I mean, it's kind of this, thought we were gonna get snow there week after week, but it's kind of backed off now, after November. But that's my recommendation.
These are my dates. Substantial, March 3rd. And final completion is 30 days later, April 2nd. So adding 30
Due
days.
March 3rd.
Yep.
And then final completion, you said?
I think if you extend to April 3rd, they will not shut down on April 3rd. If they start up on March 19th, they'll just keep right on going.
Yeah, if we don't have
Yeah.
3 feet of snow.
Right, exactly.
Final completion was due April what?
second.
What is that? Nobody heard me. Did you hear it? Sounds like an air compressor, but it's a short cycle.
Snoring hedgehog under the roof.
Did you turn up the heat?
I did not.
Oh my, no wonder it's freezing.
A little late now.
What is it? So, what's your pleasure?
Well, I guess my concern with giving a 30-day extension is that we give up all of our contractual rights at that point with the penalty clause. You know,
Do we?
for that 30-day period.
For the 30-day period, but beyond that, we still have it, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Right. And
What do you mean we give up all of our contractual rights?
I mean, right now, if the substantial completion isn't done by March 3rd, and we choose to, we have the flexibility to withhold $1,200 a day of payment.
You really don't wanna get into
Right.
that situation. I know it's contractual, and you have that right, but,
Right, and I don't
We
think
want to-
I think we would want to avoid that as well.
yeah.
But it's in the contract for a reason, and it's in there in case something goes bad,
Mm-hmm,
right? But nothing's gone bad yet.
right.
You know, but except for, you know, these delays, which are now pushed back that date. But why would we want to relinquish that part of the contract? You know, at this
It's
point.
to
in the game?
avoid a claim situation, a legal battle later.
But we wouldn't have a legal
And-
battle unless we withheld the money, and we could make that choice, not today, but we could make that choice on March 3rd. So we would have 3 months to, you know,
So, you-
see if anything else.
But
you
then
know,
it's just shut down.
If everything's still going smooth, then we can choose not to withhold that money.
Rob?
If you're saying not give them the 30 days,
yeah, wait till March 3rd and then.
I'm saying, it looks like, it sounds like
because
that's an
they'll shut down
option.
right now then, I bet.
Well, they can't. Well,
They'll ask for it.
yeah, they can. They can walk off the
They
job.
can walk off anytime. I mean, not walk off, but they can ask for
Yeah.
this winter shutdown.
Yeah. And then they'll be into the penalty, then they'll be into liquidated damages starting March
Right.
3rd until they come back.
But
Yeah.
there'll be no, if they go to winter shutdown, there's no cost. Because nobody's here.
Yeah. I think it's a little, how it affects them cost-wise is complicated.
You know,
So, there's an algorithm with that on the contracting side that I don't understand. I'd have to think about it some more. but-
Are they gonna ask, they're gonna ask for the shutdown? Or they're just asking for the
If-
30-day extension?
If the extension
If it's
doesn't
not,
seem like something that's mutually agreeable,
yeah,
based on our discussions tonight, they will request the shutdown immediately.
They may request it anyway.
yeah.
I mean, we may grant the extension and then they request.
well, then
the
I would put in the extent, if we give the extension, you're gonna work, the thing is that you work through
Can we
it.
make that,
You'll work
can we
through
make
it.
that, the extension contingent upon no winter shutdown?
I would think so.
Yeah, I would think so, yeah. Yeah.
Because that's what they want, is they want an extra 30 days
Yeah.
to work through it, to get through it, to start up, to get the plant substantial completion. That means you don't shut down and walk away. At least that's, would be the intent, I would think.
Yeah.
You're gonna give them 30 days, they can't walk off, they can't do a winter shutdown until it's completed, you know, substantial completion. You know what I'm saying, if you give them 30 extra days and they make it in 21 days, so they get the 7 days in the other end, then going after substantial completion, they take that
Right.
7 days and roll it over
We'd
to
give them
springtime.
37 days instead of 30
Right,
days
30
to
days.
get it done.
Which, like I said, when you get into the spring stuff, it's the expense that,
You can't plant grass till,
right, you can't plant until it's ready to grow, but I mean, like Rick doesn't need to be there to watch them put down loam,
No.
no.
you know, to do the fine grading.
Mhm.
May there to do the paving to make sure they're doing the right courses of pavement, but to put in the topsoil and stuff like that, it'd be more of a part-time thing. So you're not, you know, not having his expense every day, but if you start doing part-time now, you're gonna save that RPR money too. When you do need it. Maybe at the, like I said, at the other, at that 30-day extension, where you might need, where there's gonna be startups of the fine screen and septic and the grid system, UV lights.
Another thought is if they're talking about, you said March 19th was the date they had thrown out the meeting, is that right?
Yeah,
Yes. Yeah.
So, you know, that's 16 days beyond the the due date.
Mm-hmm.
You know, why 30-day extension rather than 16-day extension?
Well, they feel the 30 days is justified based on the weather they've experienced over the last few months. And they also think that they'll experience further delays trying to work in midwinter conditions.
Okay, so
So
the
they feel they can
That's
justify the 30 days based on the weather situation, October, November.
I see.
And it still hinges on Jonathan, right? Agreeing on this, some of the aspects of it.
On the RPR part.
Yeah, I mean, Jonathan has to buy into any, so, yes, yeah, it is contingent on Jonathan, but he's likely to agree to any winter shutdown that's mutually agreeable.
Right,
Yeah.
right, winter shutdown, but I'm talking the extension.
And I think that he would
RPR guy.
favor the extension of time.
Yeah.
Now, if he's not willing to reduce the oversight during that 30 days, what would that additional cost of that 30 days be?
It could be $20,000.
Okay.
Our experience is that he's been agreeable to part-time inspection on this type of stuff in the past.
Not as essential as the other,
Right.
put in the grass.
That's the buried piping you want to see.
So, what if we, it seems like if we approve the extension, 30-day extension, contingent on no winter shutdown, and also contingent on USDA approval of the part-time, RPR,
Mm-hmm.
then, and that means the plant's gonna be finished, well, it'll be about 30 days later than what the original plan was, right? Because it would push the final completion out.
Yeah, if it's the
30 days as well.
19th, it's 16 days late. If it slips further, it could be 30 days, yeah.
So would the extension apply to both the substantial completion and the final completion?
Yes, the final completion is 30 days after substantial. So we would apply it to both.
Okay.
So, we need to make a motion? How do we feel? Nobody wants to commit.
I would
I-
commit to granting the extension.
I would contingent on approval from
USDA.
USDA, for sure.
And I think the no winter shutdown is important as well, because
No winter
Yeah.
shutdown.
Because otherwise,
30 days
we
extension.
could grant the extension, and the next day, there could be a request for a winter shutdown, you know, which pushes it out conceivably even another 3 months beyond that. You know,
Would that preclude them wanting to shut down for some period of time after they reach their substantial completion?
yes.
Does that make sense?
Well, maybe we don't, yeah,
No.
because there's no shutdown, we're saying.
Or maybe just no
No.
shut
No.
down until substantial completion is
Yeah.
reached.
Yeah.
Because
Right.
Why
otherwise,
would, but why
Because-
would you, no, I don't think you want, why do you wanna shut down after the substantial?
because maybe they
Because you're
can't do
waiting
anything.
on warm
They
weather
can't-
to
Yeah.
do
They
the
can't plant
outdoor
the
work.
grass.
30-day
It's still-
extension
You're
makes.
still in
April.
a time when you can't do the
Yeah,
landscape.
yeah.
It
Might
makes
be.
April 3rd and makes it May 3rd.
Mhm.
And we can't, pavement,
So no
paving
shutdown
plants aren't
prior
open yet.
to
Substantial completion.
It's not a good time to plant grass.
Got it.
Yeah.
Well, they still got concrete tank to work
Yeah.
too.
So, 30-day extension, no winter shutdown until substantial completion.
No shutdown at all.
And approval from USDA
Yeah.
Yeah,
for the part-time inspection.
yeah.
Right, and when we
And
say
the winter
part-time,
shutdown.
we're talking
Yeah.
about, you know,
And the extension.
A couple days a
at
week.
least,
I think 2 or 3
50%.
days, yeah, 50%, round numbers.
15%.
50?
50.
At least
50.
50.
Around 50.
At least
Yeah.
50%.
Yeah, I put approximately 50.
Right,
51 would be okay with you, right?
right, I meant at least a
Yep.
50% reduction, so that it would be.
Approximately half-time.
50%.
Do you wanna read what you have, as far as what, the sense of what we're gonna do?
So we, would approve a 30-day extension contingent on USDA approval, no winter shutdown until substantial completion, part-time inspection of by the RPR,
That's
No,
what we want
50%.
That's
USDA
USDA
approval for
okay.
the part-time
But,
inspection.
yeah, but that's not contingent on the contractor, but that's contingent on your decision. Your decision is contingent on
Our
getting that.
decision is contingent,
Yeah.
right, so
Yeah.
if USDA says no,
Right.
then we've not approved the
Yeah.
extension.
Right,
And, right,
right.
and then if a shutdown needs to occur, the extension is,
It's a contingency, so it goes away, yeah.
You wanna put that into a motion?
Okay, I move that we
All right.
agree
Mm-hmm,
to the 30-day extension
mm-hmm.
contingent on there being no shutdown until substantial completion is reached, and contingent on USDA approval of inspection going to 50% during that 30-day extension.
No, during the
no,
whole,
Or
no,
during-
from this point forward.
Yeah.
Is that reasonable?
Yeah,
What was the last
From-
one again?
From this point forward.
No. So we agreed to a 30-day extension contingent on no shutdown until substantial completion,
And USDA approval of reduction of inspection to 50% from this point forward.
and USDA concurrence with the extension.
And
Well,
USDA,
oh,
okay.
okay.
Yeah.
USDA,
reduction of inspection to 50%
from this point
from
forward.
the approval forward.
Yeah,
From this point forward.
This point being here today.
Well, I
From-
have a little flexibility in that, maybe 30 days from now, because I still gotta get it approved by Jonathan, and I've gotta give Rick some kind of notice. and,
upon approval by the USDA.
Yeah,
I can't start tomorrow.
Whenever it happens.
Okay, reduction of
January
inspection
1st.
to 50%.
That's too soon, too.
Oh, come on now.
Approval
How many work days
of
between
the
now and
USDA.
January
Yeah,
1st?
I mean, I think we'd like that to start as soon as
Yes.
at all possible.
Right.
because it's-
Logistically, it's difficult.
As soon as
Yeah.
practicable.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so read back what you got.
And the third point is USDA concurrence with the extension.
Yeah.
Okay. We agree to a 30-day extension contingent upon no shutdown until substantial completion, USDA approval of reduction of inspection to 50%, and USDA approval of the 30-day extension.
That's right.
I believe there was gonna be an effective as soon as practical.
As soon as practical. So, effective, all right, so the last thing is effective as soon as practicable.
That's
That's relevant.
that's related to the part-time inspection.
Okay, so reduction of inspection to 50% as soon as practicable.
Right. So can you read us the whole thing again?
We agree to a 30-day extension contingent upon no shutdown until substantial completion. That's A. B, USDA approval of reduction of inspection to 50% as soon as practicable. And C, contingent upon approval by the USDA of the 30-day extension.
Right.
Yeah.
I second.
Whoa.
You're not gonna repeat.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, okay.
Thanks for guiding
I
us
will
through that
send
one.
draft minutes to the board before I
So
send them
simple when I
out
wrote it
to
down,
the
so.
public.
You should come with your own,
Appreciate
your
your
own.
comments and corrections.
Oh,
All right.
yeah.
My 15 minutes up.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
What's this thing?
I got a couple.
We have that.
Amendment
is-
to F.
Oh, that's an amendment to our engineering agreement for the O&M manual. That's on the list. You wanna get out of order?
Oh, it's down here.
Yep.
Okay. Oh,
Let's
there's
go
more?
with demolition.
Oh, all right.
Penta's price to put all the demolition work back into the contract is $89,000. When it came out, it was $84,000.
This includes if they demo the building?
They demo the building? Yes. The quote for, if you don't want the building demoed, it's 24,000 less than that.
What was the quote we got from?
About 4,000 or something, but
Oh.
that is to take the building and leave it in a pile on site. And don't disconnect the water, don't disconnect the electric, don't deal with any of that, just
Knock it
demolish
down?
it
Oh,
and give you a
really?
pile, yeah. So that's not a complete demolition of the building.
So it's
But,
just-
Penta is pleased to use that contractor if you'd like. He's okay with that price for
But
that.
if Penta directed it, they'd do all that other stuff,
Yes,
okay?
they will do it all.
For 20,000 more than the 4,000.
Yes,
They'll haul
Yeah.
away for 20 grand.
yep.
Yeah.
Are any of the specifics of what that includes detailed out anywhere?
On the plans they are, yeah, yeah. So it's the building down to slab grade, all other structures to 2 feet below grade. Disconnect
So
electric,
when we say
disconnect water.
building, it's both buildings,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, it's
Yeah.
one, yeah.
Buildings.
It's just hard to take because of the way they built the garage around the
Right.
building.
Yeah.
Buildings down to slab with removal. With removal?
Mm-hmm.
They would do this in the spring, or when would they do this?
Yeah.
Yes.
So-
Yeah, because we still need to use the tanks
Yep.
after startup.
Other structures to 2 feet below grade?
Yeah.
And when we say other structures, we're talking about the ditch?
Yep. And it's contact tank.
Oh, the oxidation ditch, yes. Chlorine contact tank, the headworks.
Yeah.
So the ditch,
The headworks, and the chlorine
Headworks.
contact tank.
Yeah. It's filling in the ditch. It's part of it.
So do we have to decide this now?
wait, I'm sorry, the ditch is removed to 2 feet below grade?
I believe so, yeah. All the concrete of other structures is to some depth below grade, I think it's 2 feet.
So, and then, does that assume or include bringing in fill to fill in the
Yep.
ditch?
Yep.
Okay.
I would assume that is loamed and seeded.
Yeah, loam and seeded, yeah.
Back over.
Yeah.
Because they still gotta do grading around the equalization tank after they raise it up. To taper it off.
Okay. And with the buildings, the disconnecting of all the water and capping?
Yeah, all the utilities are disconnected.
Well, you said all this is detailed out in the specs?
Yes, there's a drawing for demo.
Okay.
But do we have to decide now?
I don't know if you need to decide now, because I think you may want to make this decision based on your budget status.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
That's not on the list of things to look at, but I did
Mhm.
bring the NBR 7. I called Andrea today, she didn't return my call, I'm not really sure
Okay.
where all these things are at. That's the one
I
you
did a couple,
sent me.
yeah, I did a couple versions of that.
That's the
Yeah,
problem.
so this is, right,
Yep,
this is the first one, but not the the latest one.
okay, so I'm out of the loop.
On that, yeah,
Yeah.
and I'm sorry about that, she came back and asked for
Well, it's time to do
change
number
to be
8,
made. It's time to do number 8, right.
so you're doing that too? I need to be in the loop on 7 then, so I have a
Okay.
jumping off point.
So let me give you a copy here of the 7, so powered up.
I card up.
Give it to Rob, he's gonna give it to Rob.
Actually, I can give you, this is the same. So Louise, this is the one you signed, and then she came back.
I
to
can always
me.
just take a picture of it.
You can actually take this,
Maybe.
whatever.
Either way.
If you're gonna take a picture of this one,
Yeah,
which is the same
We have a
number, it's the
copy
same
machine.
number. So
Got a
here's
copy
what,
right here.
and I'll bring you up to speed. But this is the one you.
Step
Do
back.
you know how much money you have? Or is that still up in the air? I guess that's the purpose, that's what we need this information for, is to figure out where you're at budget-wise, as far as being able to afford bringing the demo back in. Also, affording the,
You want copies of it or not?
either way.
To discuss it? How many?
I can make this print as large as I need to.
Okay, so starting with this figure included about $24,000 of planning money. This planning amount
Mhm.
here,
Yep.
which was about 12,000 or so that we spent with Stantec in 2007
Okay.
for an initial evaluation.
Yep.
And then another 11,500 that we spent with Marquise and Morano.
Mm-hmm.
When you folks were like the second subs for her. So that, but Andrea subsequently said that because we had gotten a loan from the state revolving loan fund,
Mm-hmm.
even though we had to repay that loan,
You can still cover that, they'll still cover that, right?
she said to take it out.
Really?
So on this one, I took that out. I added a note down here to explain that there was this 24,000 that we would like covered, but that has not been included. But we also, Louise found another $1,200 of miscellaneous planning-related expenses that we came in. So we took this 24 out, but then added this 1,240 back in. So the total number came down by 23,000.
Okay,
Okay.
yep.
But then she pointed out that I hadn't filled out this part of the form down here.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what that one is this exact same thing. But
Okay.
with those, I didn't have time to track down Louise, so I signed that one.
Oh, I didn't think that was my thing.
Well, there wasn't
All
any
right.
change other than filling this part in.
So the O&M manual is in the MBR already. So, but we'll get to that, I guess, later. So that's good news for that.
Is in here,
Yeah.
right.
And the demolition is not. So if you're gonna put the,
Demolition is not, that's right.
yeah, but it also looks like the engineering is about,
Where are they stored?
there's no balance to finish there. That is
Sorry, it's not
over
mine.
budget. That
Not mine
is
either.
over budget. These two.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
So, one thing to keep in mind is that this total budget down here was never intended to cover, this planning piece that we included.
Mm-hmm.
It was, it was also not intended to include
Yeah.
some of the other expenses that we dredged up from,
Right.
years prior, so,
Don't you need to update this column? The current budget, the revised budget? Because if you add earned to date plus balance to finish, are you still 3,000,007?
I think so.
No, you're 3,800,000. No, I guess that is 3,700,000.
That was just, yeah.
Holding the same contingency?
I I didn't change anything
Isn't that
on
kinda-
any of these
yeah.
figures here. All I did was
Well, I think I
added
need
in-
a month or so to look at this, figure out.
Yeah.
Do you think you have contingency enough to cover the,
I don't.
Demo?
I don't know.
I don't either. Yeah.
I don't know. So I think we do need to look at that.
Yeah,
And also, I mean, it's getting to the point where I think we've got to look at what the remaining, expenses are gonna be, which should, for the construction and for the engineering, that's pretty predictable, cause it's covered from under contract, right?
right.
The remaining amount.
And I
assuming-
think you're 96,000 over on construction engineering. A lot of that is because you've got nothing under construction observation.
It didn't break, you're right, it didn't get
It is.
broken out that way.
Yeah, because it's on the same invoice.
That's right.
We can combine those into one line
Yeah.
and make it simpler.
Yeah, right, that would be fine. Yeah, so there's essentially about 90,000 left
Yep.
for observation.
Yeah.
And then we had budgeted for the O&M manual, but we did not contract for it
Right.
with you. And that was kind of an additional contingency.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Miscellaneous testing is gonna be under. And construction should be under. We don't know if we'll get any dollar claims from Penta in the end. We've been doing very well at managing that up to
Yep.
this point. So far, there'll only be deducts, because they didn't use their asbestos removal item, and they won't. So that's
Right.
$10,000.
Right.
And your miscellaneous testing to date, you should have some invoices. You should have bills from the testing company.
Oh, we made, what's the name of it?
Boy, let's see.
Oh, the one in Wilmington?
Wilmington?
No, yeah, you should have that. That goes under miscellaneous testing, but there's also the guys, the
Compact.
soils guys and concrete guys from across the river.
What's the name of it?
Let's see.
Is it
M&W?
M&M or
Is that-
M&W?
Is that still running?
Yeah, it's still on.
Why don't we make a
McGlashan.
copy of that for Dexter as well?
Holy.
I don't
And
know, I've
actually-
never seen any of those.
Might want to
You
copy that,
want-
'cause that's the
how many?
detailed breakdown of this.
3, 4?
Yeah, whatever you made the last time. Thank you.
No
That's
problem.
all our usual ones.
So-
Analytical.
But
In the
anyway,
past-
that's not gonna total 3,000, so
Okay.
that's good news.
For the other trustees, over the past 2 weeks, I sort of got brought up to speed on these, this USDA form, the monthly project budget report. And it's essentially an expense report that they want submitted each month. So we had submitted 6 of them, starting about 6 or 7 months ago. And each one of those initial 6 just included the Penta expenses, but it hadn't included any expenses from Tate and Howard, and it hadn't included any other project expenses. So this MBR number 7, Andrea wanted all of the other expenses to be captured. So in addition to the Penta expense, which for this period was 444,000, we added in all of the Tata and Howard expenses to date, as well as any other expenses that Louise and Alex were able to
All the legal
dredge
expenses
up.
for
Yeah,
the,
legal expenses
for the bond votes.
yeah, for everything. So
Testing.
we went back to 2007 when this first started, and tried to collect all the expenses. And I'm sure we didn't get them all, but we got a lot of them.
Yep.
And the importance of doing that is that we're closing out our line of credit and taking the loan from USDA. So we needed to substantiate that we expended that the full loan amount, and to get into the grant money.
Is their loan, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Is their loan amount 21655 plus 500,000? Or that's additional grant?
No,
The 500,000 is
I
grant.
believe the loan amount is actually,
Oh, I meant the bond adjustment. 2,165 plus 150.
That's
Yes,
right.
that's, that,
right.
right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I thought it was 2,164 plus 150. I don't know where the 2,165.5 came from, but. Yeah, so I think that was.
So they increased the loan amount by 150,000 at the last minute to make this thing work.
Correct. Correct.
That doesn't affect the bottom line, it just gives you a way to pay that back. One-stop shopping.
Maybe it was,
Yeah.
it's the 21655 minus the 150?
No,
Oh,
no. No, it's plus.
oh, the grant addition.
So you sort of statutorily can't spend more than the 3.7.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
Yeah.
150 down there.
On the, yeah, I would say on the,
Yeah.
essentially on the construction, that's
Yeah.
correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're.
We'll have to update this and look at the contingency. and
Yeah,
see where-
because including all of these old expenses going back to 2007, the total cost will exceed 3.7. I'm sure of it. But that's not what the 3.7 was intended to cover. It was only covering expenses from a certain point forward. I'll have to
You gotta figure that out, because if it does cover more than the 3.7, the bottom line's gonna be more than 3.7. So that can be reflected here in another line, another funding source line.
I see. As in village capital reserve account?
Yeah, but I think that, you know, there may be issues, there's a certain maximum project amount that you can spend. So I think it's, I don't know how it will work. I mean, these are all 3.7 now.
Right. Well, the
This
three
is a
point seven number
calculation
was
of
the
this.
number that you, not you, but that Tata and Howard generated. And that was including, that was with a starting point of when we hired Tata and Howard in 2014.
Yep.
In August of 2014, from that point forward.
Mhm.
So it was saying that the project was gonna cost 3.7 from August of 2014 forward.
Mm-hmm.
But the project started 7 years prior to that.
Right.
In 2007.
And you've got that
So-
cost in here now.
And I've included that cost in the expenses.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's good that they're covered under the project, but it
Yeah.
limits the funds available to complete the project.
But
Right.
but wasn't that some of that
Right.
money loaned from state of Vermont, not USDA?
Yeah, but USDA will pay that back. I don't know why they
Yeah,
wouldn't go
I
for
see- she
Stantec,
said-
because it's just too old.
No,
No?
no, she said that because it was a state loan, that they wouldn't pay it. She may be
Right.
mistaken about
Oh,
that.
because,
See, it's a state
well,
revolving loan
after
fund.
5 years, it
Right.
becomes a loan.
Right.
So that's what it is. Once it converts to a loan, they won't pay it back. Huh, maybe.
So you borrow the money and then you have 5 years
Yeah.
to start paying it back.
Yeah.
Right,
You
right,
get-
so the 2007 one we just paid off.
Right.
The one we got in 2004, 13 or 14
Which would have been the start of this
is
one.
starting in March.
Right.
Yeah.
For the state.
Mhm.
And she might pay that one? No.
Not sure. No, she said,
Oh, no, just as long as somebody doesn't lose track of it, because
yeah.
we've had this happen elsewhere,
Yeah.
where it just got lost. And all of a sudden they want their money.
I thought it was free.
Yeah.
Was
it
for
was
5
for 5
years.
years.
Yeah. That's the
And
line.
then, did you get a copy of this?
Yes, I got a
Okay.
copy of that.
So that's,
Yeah.
that details out
Yeah.
where the 876,000
Mm-hmm,
for MBR seven,
okay.
comes from.
So as far as getting village costs for MBR 8, who's sending that to me to do that? And I know MBR 8, this month's MBR for North Country has to be in tomorrow to get processed this month.
So,
Should I do
So
it?
you've got Pentas.
I got Penta and us.
Penta and
Maybe
you.
maybe
Right.
that's all I put in for
I think-
8, just to keep it moving.
I think
Yeah,
so.
that's it.
You know?
Yeah, because I don't think there's.
Yeah.
No, there wasn't anything else.
Yeah, I think that,
And I'll just jump off with these
Right.
numbers.
I think to keep it clean, that's what I would do, is to just include, so
Yeah.
this would,
You had to adjust something above this line to make these two columns add up to 3.7, or it's just some amazing amount of magic. Right?
well, this column is that minus that,
Okay,
right? And it just follows right down, so this column is that
Okay.
minus that.
okay, so it's these negative numbers. It's whatever the plus and minuses are.
Right.
in-
Right. So if you go over, do you normally expend that out of contingency, or I would have thought you just,
Well, these are untouched, that's
Yeah.
$77,000.
right, untouched, but you've got some negatives up here, so. Yeah.
Yeah, but this negative goes away with this
Right, that's-
positive.
right,
Yeah,
right.
this, I guess, is gonna be it.
Yeah. Yeah, so.
Well, I need
do-
to study
Do you
it
know
some.
what,
Yeah,
so Penta, for instance, is, so that's showing 1.143 remaining.
yeah,
And this is showing, let's just, rough math is about 92. Let's include the 11. That'd be, 103, right?
mm-hmm,
So 103, that means that's 246. So,
it might be an extra 100,000 available in there? Is
Might
that
be
what
an
you're
extra.
thinking? That's what I looked.
and then that would be used to cover the demo.
That would make the contingency bigger. I could adjust some of those budgets, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But I don't know if there's still, more expenses that come in, for, miscellaneous
There is some
testing.
testing invoices.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not sure you ever got them, but, no, you paid Catamount. Catamount's in here somewhere, isn't it?
There's
Well,
one bill
either-
from Catamount for $420.
There's M&W Soils, 9/22/18, 10/8/18, that's the testing.
Oh, you found that?
Okay,
Yeah.
so that was 200 and.
Yep.
Here's just a small.
$500. And there's Catamount too,
$500.
420.
Yep.
There should be 2 Catamount bills.
What's
I
the
thought
other
the
one?
first one was bigger than 420.
He would've come in October, right?
Yeah. 8/11. That must have been the
August,
first
that was the
inspection.
that was just a
So,
copy.
yeah,
That roof was done later because,
the
Well,
roof was done
um,
later, right?
yeah.
See, I didn't see the bills, the
Yeah.
current ones. Alex has those, so
So
he
maybe
might
you
have,
don't have the latest from
maybe he
Catamount, or
didn't
maybe
know
he
that's
missed
what
it.
that was,
Yeah.
yeah.
What do you got for bills to sign tonight?
Not anything like that.
Okay. I know,
Penta Penta and Tater and Howard.
no, that's fine. I didn't know if there was any other
No,
Well,
bills.
Well, that would be great.
So that's good, yeah.
Yeah, if you
Can
could
get
scan
that into
if
the-
you- yeah, if you can scan down through that, and if there's anything else that you think, that looks like it's missing,
Mhm.
then we can
Yeah.
start looking for
Yeah.
the invoice and
Yeah.
get it
I
added.
get them in as we find them.
Right.
Yeah. that was sort of.
But I wouldn't worry about getting them in on an MBR 8. I
Nope.
think if you just do that with
Yep.
just your,
I will start
yeah,
from the latest.
and you can see what
12,
we've got in
17,
there for
18, the latest.
what's in there for Tata and Howard is all detailed
Yeah.
out here, so you can match those up.
Yeah, I think you did match those up. That was good. Yeah.
We can go, I can go online and into the checking account, see which checks he's written to whom. And usually, then there's a copy of the check, so.
Oh, yeah.
So that's the easiest way, because then you see the whole statement.
Yeah.
All right, try to remember that, see if there's any more of those boring ones.
Catamount is the one.
Catamount
Yeah.
and,
But the good news is, it looks like with the amount that's left and what's still owed to you and what's still owed to Penta,
Mm-hmm.
that we may still be, you know, close, maybe even within budget, even after bringing in quite a bit of older stuff,
Yep. Yep.
which is great.
Yep. Well, your admin and interest are way under,
But we're just very efficient.
right? You're not gonna have any more interest.
Yeah. No, on the,
You're-
right, yeah, the interest, and that's an estimate through the
Yep.
21st, so, yeah, it shouldn't be
Yep.
any more on that, so that's nice.
Yep. That all helps.
Yep. Well, originally we had the interest budgeted at 40,000, way off on
Yeah. Money we spend somewhere else.
that. Yep.
I doubt I'll hear from Andrea before tomorrow, but, I'll get that in this week anyway.
Well, she, when I sent her this, she said, oh yeah, that's perfect, that's exactly what I'm looking for, filling this stuff in. I realized that I left out those two numbers even
Okay.
after that.
Yep. Yep.
well, you had the newest one,
The latest one. Yeah.
number 7?
There's a lot of number 7.
Oh, yeah. We're
The-
going to 8.
Well, yeah, you want,
I only have 3 of them. I don't, but there's more.
should change that date.
It should be V1, V2.
Yeah.
To take my list away.
Which one?
My outline of things to talk about tonight.
Oh, yes.
I know my 15 minutes is up.
Oh, here it is, here it is. OMB?
So that was demolition we just
Oh.
talked about.
Oh,
Wow.
so now we're in
We,
FRP.
Right.
we didn't have to make a decision. FRP wall panels.
What's that?
I just want to tell you what's going on with the wall panels.
You mean inside or outside?
Inside.
Inside the building.
We had specified that all the walls would be FRP, which is fiberglass reinforced plastic faced. The material we spec'd and the material they submitted for approval in their shop drawings was a 90 mil thick, which is almost 1/8 of an inch thick FRP plastic
Mhm.
coating that sticks on the walls. It's really difficult to install. It's very expensive stuff. It's top shelf. And after you glue it, it gets riveted with these little plastic rivets that go through the plywood it's mounted on. And they're very neat little white buttons all over the thing. You may have seen it. What the subcontractor did, pulling a fast one on the contractor, maybe, and everyone else, was switch to this product, which already has the FRP stuck on the plywood.
Oh,
And it screws onto the walls just like regular plywood, so they've got these visible screws everywhere, no little neat little plastic white buttons.
so
And they
there's,
just went ahead and substituted this on their own and put it in, and we caught them and we said, hey, that's not the right stuff. So
it's already been
aesthetically,
installed? I mean,
mostly all installed,
It's all
installed.
installed except
Yeah.
for trimming it.
Yep.
so,
So it'd be a real hardship on them to change it, but I think if we decide to accept it and live with it, that they owe you some money on that substitution. Because I think it's a much cheaper, certainly the installation is easier because it's all one step. And the product is probably cheaper. as well, so.
That's nowhere near as thick.
It's nowhere near as thick.
So the plastic here is about 1
15
millimeter.
mils.
Yeah.
15 mils, yep. Yeah.
So the thickness of the plastic is much thinner here.
Yeah. 1/6 of what we
Does
call
that make
for.
a difference?
It won't make a difference 99% of the time. If you throw a brick at this, you'll put a hole in it. If you throw a brick at the other stuff, you probably won't.
Well, you're gonna be throwing
But-
any bricks?
No.
No,
Not
I mean,
planning on
I
it
think,
inside.
you know, my gut feeling is that this is acceptable, but it's a lesser product, and you should be compensated for that.
And this is on 1/2-inch plywood.
Yep,
And the other stuff was going to be adhered to what?
1/2-inch plywood.
To 1/2-inch plywood.
Yep,
So instead of doing 2 steps, they just did 1.
yep.
And how is this secured to the wall, you said?
Stainless steel sheetrock screws. We're making them get white capped ones. They've got it in temporarily now. With last I knew, they had
Yeah, just it's
temporary
it's temporary
screws.
up
round
screws.
heads.
So they're gonna replace them with, no, Phillips had white.
Just be white.
Yeah,
So the counters sink into this?
a little bit.
There was a button
like a
they were using
sheetrock screw.
before, but yeah, it was a sheetrock which would be flush.
Yeah, this is sheetrock screw.
I don't know if they're using that stainless button or not.
No, there's no buttons.
There's no button. So.
There's strips on the joints between the panels.
So is there a concern with moisture getting, through that fastener penetration to the plywood?
No, I'm not concerned with moisture penetration because it's not really a wet environment. It's more there for splash protection.
You wipe if this stuff gets on there. I'm just gonna wipe it off, wash it
Yeah.
off. But
Yeah.
I don't
I
think it's
mean-
gonna be like a constant.
Yeah.
Then it's gonna dry rot. I mean, it's gonna dry out because it's not on. It's not to the floor,
Right.
so you're not wicking up anything on the floor.
Yeah.
They left it up by half,
Sure.
3/4 of an inch, if not higher.
Well, in the wet area, it's up.
Yeah,
A
it's
couple
up.
feet.
It's up. Yeah, in
Yeah.
the influent part of the building, it's
Yeah.
up off the ground by this much. But I mean, you're not going to get a splash in there, typically.
The other
You're going
stuff
to get
would have
hosed
been
down.
heat, how would it have been applied? Is it
Glue.
glued?
Yeah,
Glued.
you peel off the back and you stick it on, and it's
Oh.
a 4x8 sheet, and it
Oh.
is really difficult.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh,
So how would
Like
we go
bond
about
paper. yeah, getting there.
determining what the
Well, we don't even
feedback
know what this
to us
is.
would be?
Yeah, we've asked the contractor to give us a submittal on what their product is, because we don't, it's got no markings on it. It comes with no info.
Identification.
Mhm.
Yeah, so we don't know what it is.
We don't even know what it's made out of?
I've done some research. I think it's a product called Clad Tough.
Well,
Made
is
in
that, is
Ohio.
that plastic, that white?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plastic. It's the same stuff, it's just not as thick as what is spec.
All right, well, do some research and let us
Well, and the
know.
other stuff needs to be thick because
I wanted
it's got
to
to
be
stand on
aware.
its own until it gets applied. This gets applied at the
It's all
penetrate.
one piece, right?
Yeah.
So,
Okay,
I mean,
OMB.
it's all sealed around,
O&M?
just like it
O&M
is.
manual. We did prepare an engineering amendment for the O&M manual. We did honor our pricing from whatever we originally gave you pricing for of $11,100.
So is this exactly the same as what was in previously, or?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
And what's it called again?
Preparation of O&M manual. It also includes a
I got it.
like a 1-year inspection
Operation and maintenance,
and counseling for Rob.
counseling.
Well, that's way, that's not enough.
Was Annex?
They're mostly gonna be for counseling.
So do we have to, would we have to make a motion to do this, or?
And that's paper copies?
Yeah, paper and electronic, as many as you want.
Have you seen this?
What was I gonna say about it?
What? No.
I lost it.
Um,
Oh, USDA has approved it.
Okay,
I included you in the original correspondence to Jonathan. He asked me a question, why wasn't it in the beginning? I said it was removed for cost considerations in the beginning. And his response was, okay then.
oh,
So,
Right. So can we, does it work if we have until our next meeting to review?
yeah,
Does that think
I've
work?
got a 2-month schedule to do that. Um,
I don't
Next
think it'd be
meeting,
the issue,
yeah.
I just like
Yeah.
time to read through it.
It should be ready, just about ready. If we start January, your first meeting, it should be ready for our March 16th startup. Yeah, yeah. So that should be doable.
All right, so you're,
And then the last
In
item
charge of it.
on my list was
What?
nitrogen optimization plan.
Mhm.
So, Ben had forwarded me the inspection report of the plant. It included a number of things under recommendations that needed to be, that the state recommended that you be prepared for. 3 of them or so we will cover in the O&M manual. The one that is not covered in the O&M manual is preparation of the nitrogen optimization plan.
Okay.
And I am at this point still trying to define just what the scope of that will be. So I
how about
have,
defining what it is? Nitrogen
What is it?
optimization.
okay, so it is in.
Getting the most nitrogen you
Okay,
can.
in your NPDES permit, you know what that is?
NPDES, no.
So I'll put in context, because
Yeah.
everyone may not, realize or remember, but there was a state inspector who did
Nick came down and did a
a
site
spot
inspection.
inspection
Yeah.
of our facility for compliance in September. I think unrelated to
Our
the
current
upgrade
facility?
project.
Yeah.
Current facility. And so then submitted a report, and everything was, looked pretty good, but he noted in there that since we were building a new facility, that, within 6 months of the completion of that facility, meaning 6 months afterwards, we needed to have certain things in place, including this nitrogen optimization plan.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah.
so,
No.
Hey, if you're on the other side of the state, it'd be a pop.
Okay, and is that related to the building of the plant?
It's related to Long Island Sound,
Right.
Really?
really.
Oh, you're trying to get the knob, the knob.
Nice.
Okay,
Nitrogen.
so
Get-
there's
get the knob. So-
TMDLs,
So it doesn't go into the Long Island
total
Sound.
maximum daily load allowances in the
Oh,
Connecticut River
nitrogen.
for nitrogen
So we have
from
to have
Vermont.
we have to have a plan related to the new plant.
Yep,
Okay.
yep.
So you're gonna make that plan up, or how?
Plant is designed to put out, yeah.
Okay.
We will scope that,
Okay,
and I expect to have that for you well in advance of the next meeting.
that's,
so when you
And
say
that's
scope, you
due
mean-
6 months after completion of the upgrade.
Right.
So,
So it'll be
next
about this
fall.
time next year.
Or
Yeah.
so, yeah.
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 is that
When
in,
you say scope it, you mean quote it?
Yes,
Okay,
scope and.
so it
fee.
isn't included
Yeah.
in any of
Yeah.
the
okay.
Yeah,
additional expense,
yeah,
fine print,
it's an additional expense, yeah.
okay.
It's timely to bring it up, because if you have funds within the project, it might be something that you can
Yeah.
get covered with USDA money.
Oh, yeah.
How substantial is the generation of that plant?
I'm thinking it's in the $5,000 to $10,000 range. What, do you have a budget for yours?
Yeah, I'm just trying to think, because I'm doing, updating like SSPP too.
Yeah.
So-
Oh, that's part of it.
It's part of that whole thing.
Yes.
What
But that's
what
about
is-
right, I think.
I mean, a nitrogen optimization plan, it
Yes.
sounds like it's,
So your plant,
how is the plant going to
Oh.
optimize, as in minimize nitrogen?
How's it? Yep.
wow, it's my 15 minutes up.
You wanna leave?
But
No,
yeah,
no.
That's basically,
It's just getting good.
Oh, gosh.
Your SBR is designed to nitrify, which means they take the ammonia that comes in and they convert it to nitrite.
Mhm.
The nitrite end up in the river
Mhm.
and are less harmful to the aquatic life than the ammonia.
Oh,
So
okay.
that's an upgrade.
Okay.
That's your plan. That's part of this project.
Mhm.
A nitrogen optimization plan would look to take that even further,
No,
to reduce the total mass of nitrogen that you put in there, because the nitrates affect aquatic life in Long Island Sound, the total nitrogen. So what can be done is you can modify your biological process so that it denitrifies, which
Oh.
takes the nitrates and converts it to nitrogen gas and
Oh.
sends it into the atmosphere instead of into the river.
can't turn it into
And there are
fertilizer?
things we can do with your plant, with the programming, to make it do that.
Oh,
So I don't know exactly what their policy is and how it all is related to reality, but that's, you know, sort of
wow.
theoretically what's going on. Your discharge permit allows you to discharge 10 pounds of nitrogen, total nitrogen per day. The TMDL for your plant, according to your NPDES permit, is 7 pounds a day.
TML, empty.
Total maximum daily load,
Oh.
which is an allocation of nitrogen loading
No.
to the Connecticut River that's
Mhm.
attributed to you.
Mhm. What is our total daily?
Allowed 7, and your
Right.
plant is designed to discharge 10 at capacity. When your plant starts up, you'll be at about half capacity,
Oh.
so you'll only be putting out 5. How you resolve the 5, 7, and 10, I don't know.
But essentially, the plan might say that
When you
know,
get to
that
7,
we know we can discharge up to 7. You know, at our current capacity, we're discharging 5, so we're good.
Yep,
When we hit 7, then we gasify it,
yep. Yeah.
and that's a nitrogen
Yeah,
optimization.
it may be as simple as a programming change in
Hmm.
the SBR.
The way they run the SBR.
AO, like 4 to 6 cycles, something crazy like that.
Hmm.
You say so. If you say so.
You got a phone call. So, something's blinking.
I got a Twitter notification.
Oh,
His nitrogen is
I have
up.
to turn my Twitter notifications on because I'll never check it.
So, is that the last item?
There was something to add, but
Oh,
I didn't write it down and it's evaporated from my.
Can I add some stuff?
Yep.
I wanna see if Penta can give us, or somebody give us a price on additional paving. We talked about this before.
Yes, that is on the list. We covered it at the meeting.
Okay,
So,
so let's,
yeah,
alright,
yeah.
so that's good. The other thing is the air pipe in the holding tank.
You should have been there Thursday.
Trust me, I was there. in
We're on
spirit.
it. They like our plan. They're gonna consider fabricating the header themselves out of stainless.
Okay, so they're gonna get us a price for
Yeah, and you
that?
could buy those flex cap aerators off Blue Book, and they're
Yeah.
gonna price it that way.
Okay. And then, the lighting on the deck, up at the SBRs, are
Okay.
those lit by the poles that are the new?
I'd have to look.
Well, check on it and then see
Yeah.
if they're, like on like streetlights at night or they're off a switch.
Okay.
I'm just thinking of the neighbors.
You'd rather have it off a switch.
Yeah, I would say so. I don't think that, because they're gonna be above those tanks looking down
Mm-hmm.
on top,
Right. The amount of time you'll be there at night is
minimize.
minimal.
Morning maybe, but if they run like streetlights, I can imagine the neighbors are gonna complain, so we
Right.
need to switch that if it is that way. Chemicals, we had pH in one of our in the building. Apparently the doors got left open. Went bad, so Penta needs to close us
Oh.
55 gallons drums of chemical.
Caustic?
Yep. It's crystallized, so it's done. We'll bring it back.
Okay.
The other thing is, you guys, and this is to the board, not to you, Dexter, Coda and Coda. There was a price that was sent a couple meetings ago,
for what?
Coda and Coda, for installing fuel tanks at the plant for heating.
I didn't see it.
I'm sure I forwarded it to you. From Chris Reeves.
I don't remember it.
Alright, well, I'll get it again, cause they're gonna need to put, as soon as the mechanical guys get the heat hooked up, the villager's responsible for propane to run those heaters.
So it's
So they got-
installing the propane system?
It's installing the tank, so there's
Tank.
a cement pad that 2 of the tanks are gonna sit on,
Hmm.
coming out of the regulators. And I think after that, the contractor takes over from there.
Okay.
So, and that was, I believe, sent a couple meetings ago, but maybe not. I'll double check that. And we talked about Rick. And then, that's it. Oh,
Oh,
did you ever get the pencil sharpener?
darn.
Okay.
Well, it hasn't been Christmas yet, you know.
I'll take care of
You're
it,
a
don't
goody-
you worry.
Good boy.
Don't you worry, I'll take care of
Be
it.
patient.
There'll be a bill submitted.
Oh, you've already bought one?
Oh, no,
Oh,
oh, no.
I got some creds at
Enough.
Staples.
Enough.
I got this 15-year-old boy that thinks he has to tell me every day that everything on his list is really important. And he wants to-
15-year-old boy?
Yeah, and he wants to know right now if I got it all. Don't leave anything out. I gotta have it all. You sure you got it?
Oh,
This
jeez.
is his Santa list?
They're almost sold out there.
You gotta tell him to talk to the big guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, what are you telling me for?
Yeah.
All right.
About what I tell him.
I have a little Christmas present for you. Are you finished?
Awesome, yeah.
Oh. Should I have one for everybody? Something to eat. Oops, I've lost the ribbon on that one, so I'll give you another one. On the way to home.
Great, thank you. It's a long ride. So. See if it makes it home. Thank you very much.
You happen to know, fence went up?
Rob reported that the fence guys are mobilized, and he thinks the fabric will go up tomorrow.
The poles are in,
Yep,
and I would assume that everything will be done tomorrow.
yep.
Yeah, I saw the polls
Yeah,
on
the poles are in.
Thursday.
Yep.
Siding is on. That's the other question.
Oh, the siding.
The
Yeah,
siding
right,
that we had,
Well, I'll take this back.
the siding that we had looked at, I guess, I don't know what everybody else's take, but I thought it was gonna be like panels.
Vinyl shake stuff, yeah.
Well, they're vinyl shakes, but they're just like vinyl siding, 12-foot long pieces.
He's not sure it's the same product.
I don't
we
think it's the
approved.
same product that we talked about, because
Oh.
mine was
And
gonna
it's the
be
same
like 2
contractor
foot,
that.
2 foot by 3 foot pieces of
Oh, yeah.
panels.
The
That they're, well, they're
Oh.
thicker,
Sub to a sub.
they were heavier duty than the samples we
Have
looked
they
at.
put it up?
Oh yeah,
All
one side's
seasons.
already done.
Well, where's our
Do you know?
Heard of them.
Yeah.
supervisor?
Apparently they
He's
sub
there.
everything out. So it's penta sub.
So have they told the person that this is not what we want?
I
About
told
this?
No, the other one. The
the
outside.
siding, I talked to Dan today, and he said, no, that's what they submitted on, but I don't know if that's what
Yeah.
is supposed to be submitted on.
Well, we'll make our own determination about that.
But yeah, check into that soon,
Yep.
because they're putting it up.
Yep.
Because it's, what I'm saying is, it's not as dense, like regular vinyl siding with,
Yeah.
like you would have on a regular 4-inch exposed,
The approved stuff is certainty, so,
Yeah.
yeah, so it's good quality.
but it's not, still airspace behind it for rocks hitting it.
Right.
Because that's what was the concerning thing. The other one's more of a panel. Solid, more solid. So,
That could be a big deal. I mean,
well, it could be,
Yeah.
because if you,
Yeah.
it's not taking
Just
one panel down,
aesthetically.
you're
The
taking 12.
downsides of vinyl.
So, but that's why we didn't wanna go with the regular vinyl, we wanted to use that heavier duty stuff.
Hmm.
So it's
So.
been like an hour and 15 minutes.
Okay. I'll be-
So,
Yeah, what?
yeah, just check on it, you know. Let somebody know.
That was a big one.
You got out early last time.
Yeah.
I did. I have on a few occasions.
You want
It's a
some-
very quick
you
meeting.
want
I
some water
actually
to
thought
take
this
with
one
you?
would be quick too, and then I thought about my list. Huh?
This will make you thirsty, so you want some water?
I have a bottle of water waiting for me.
Okay.
Thank you, though.
So now we can pay your bill.
Well, Merry Christmas to all you
Yeah,
too.
Merry Christmas.
Have
Thank
good
you.
holidays, and
Happy skiing.
see you next year.
Yeah, next year. Oh, you don't have to sign this one, right?
Sign that.
Oh, you have. Oh, did you sign that?
Yeah.
Oh,
Why? You need,
I need one back. Why don't you just? I got one more copy here.
oh,
Just sign one more copy.
you don't do anything.
All
All right, we'll start here.
You have my signature? Oh, yeah.
That's just this, you don't need this to sign the bill.
Thank you.
That was just something I brought tonight. There's a stapled bill right there, Louise.
What?
I said, there's a stapled bill right there.
Oh, yeah, I know, it's my bill.
Yeah.
No
Oh,
pencil
your bill, no
sharpener.
pencil sharpener, no, I understand. Anything else for me?
Good night.
No, I don't think so.
Good. And have a nice holiday.
You too.
Thank you. Same to you.
You see my lights from your house?
Just a white one, spotlight.
No, I have some
I don't really look.
little colored lights.
Okay, I'll look.
There's some really crazy lights in Breville's phones.
Yes, unbelievable.
On School Street? Wow.
Yeah, it's like the
You should
company.
go out and take a picture of that, you know. We've been doing the study of the use of electricity by the sewer plant.
Yeah?
And the first month it was 300 something, this month it was 200 something. Over.
Right. Okay.
I think.
Over
Over,
this time last year?
yeah. If you look at that, if you look at the chart, you can see it's a big spike.
Hmm.
Is that the sewer plant?
Rec area.
This is sewer plant here.
You have the sewer plant there?
River Street, yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Yeah, 231.18.
Get a response back from Andrea when you sent her that proof of insurance.
No.
Is this what you sent her?
Let me see. No, that's a bill. No, no.
Send her something else.
I sent her the current one, but I have to send, I just got the new one for the new year, which she probably won't want to. I'll send her that
Tree lighting,
tree lighting.
$320 for traffic control.
Yeah, that's like twice as much as last year.
Yeah.
And we didn't have a wagon.
And we didn't have that many people.
Yeah. How about that?
Yeah.
Start charging admission.
Yeah.
Environmental.
So this is double time. Is that because it was late? 4-hour minimum.
Yeah. So they always charge double because it's a Sunday.
Volunteers.
And they they're having a hard time getting people because of the, like the electrical outage stuff. Somehow, I guess they have to be directing traffic at all the people who were out of electricity. So they had a hard time finding people.
I think we could cover that with volunteers.
Yeah.
You and I was a Boy Scout,
Yeah.
we used to
Yeah,
do
maybe,
this.
well, we will,
as our
if
public
we want,
service.
if anybody wants to
Flashlight.
volunteer.
Yeah,
All you need is a flashlight and a
yeah. That's about it.
reflective something.
Right.
That's it.
Tree looks great though.
Yeah, it does. Okay, other business or committee reports, we did that one. Park project, anything?
I've just been trying to trace down the matches and the grants.
Oh, yeah.
And I think we're going to be okay, but I'm still looking for something more official than just a mention in email correspondence. I haven't heard back from WRC yet about what records they have.
Okay.
Um,
Well, if you know, you're looking for like copies of invoices?
Well,
I have one, I know, but it wasn't for very much, but,
well, just to know that we haven't used, say, the Wyndham Foundation grant to set against something else for a matching. Just to make sure that we have grants to match everything that we need to. And I think we will be okay. So what I have is the first EPA grant. I have somewhere an email that said it was waived, the matching was waived.
yeah, yeah.
The second one, you need 24,900, and the stone donation was 20,000. The trucking I have is 4, and I don't know what.
The
Julie-
stone donation, what'd you say?
The stone donation was 20,000. The granite,
The granite,
Oh, stone.
From the
Oh,
town.
the
Okay.
town, yeah, and then the trucking was
Oh.
4,000.
Oh, yeah.
Which
Mhm.
Buck provided, and Julie sent some hours over to WRC, and I don't know how much that was, but I'm reasonably sure there was at least $900 in there, so that should be covered. I have a note that says that the WRC grant was covered with volunteer hours.
yes.
But that's just an email, that's not official from WRC. I just
They,
want them
I
to
was there
confirm.
when we added up all those hours on all those spreadsheets and so
Okay,
that, I know
so
it
we-
happened, so they should have confirmation of that.
Okay. And then the BGS grant, it's a one-to-one match, so
Which
that-
one?
the BGS recreation facilities grant. So we need a $10,000 match for that, and we have 2 Wyndham Foundation grants of 5. So we should be okay.
Oh, that's good.
And then we have private donations and other cash that's not
Well, we had
accounted for.
money in the bank already.
Yeah, yeah. So I think we've met all the matching commitments, but
Okay.
I'm not willing to say 100% sure until I
So when
get it confirmed back.
when do you submit that? To whom do you submit it to? Is it just, how do you, do they?
Well,
want-
good question,
They
because
never, how did they ask you to prove it somehow?
I'm sure that they do.
At some point, maybe at the end.
I know that for the supplement, we have to tell them about the EPA supplemental grant. We have to tell them what the matching is going to be before we access the money.
Oh,
And I assume the same thing is true for the other grants.
okay.
And WRC has been handling that as far as I can tell.
Because we already have the money from the state, the rec.
We do, okay. And
Yeah,
did
we
they
had
ask
it.
you, did they ask you to,
No, but there may be an accounting at the end,
okay,
You
yeah.
know,
or
that
maybe
kind of
at the
thing.
end.
yeah, so don't lose your notes. All right, anything else? Things are moving along.
Yeah, things are moving along, yeah. I rely on Peter's pictures.
There was, Julie was over there the other day, and she said there was an issue or a concern, an idea that, we were gonna have regular benches, but that she thought they would look insubstantial next to the concrete, or the blocks. And she was wondering about using the blocks as benches. And I said, well, that might be a little bit cold, but maybe they could put like wood on top of them. You know how you put
Yeah,
pieces of wood and then you screw it into so they're just not quite so stark
yeah,
and a little more comfortable.
yeah.
But she was concerned that they would look sort of out of place if you just use those regular kind of benches, wooden benches.
So are they
But-
actually putting stone benches in place now? Is that what we're seeing?
They
No.
haven't. They're not doing that yet.
Mm.
But they have all that stone, and she thought it would go better with.
Mhm.
So she's just sort of floating the idea. Okay, anything else on that? Fire station, nothing's happening, right? We're gonna knuckle down in January and start working on this. Right?
Okay,
Yeah, I think Matt had an action item last meeting, didn't he?
What was it?
Do the minutes reflect anything?
I don't think it's action.
I think he was gonna put together a proposal or
He was
a
going-
plan forward or.
something to do with he was gonna investigate the siding on the building,
He wanted to
metal
go
building.
Oh,
wanted to
to,
go-
to
right.
Castleton.
He was-
and look at.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I mean, I think there was a lower cost building that, metal building that the committee had looked at.
Mhm.
And, I
And
think
he
he was
wanted
gonna,
to-
he was gonna put together essentially some sort of a, comparison of that to the alternatives so that we could have something to consider.
yeah,
So at the Butler building was what he was talking
Yeah.
about.
yeah.
The metal siding and roof. And it's a big cost factor, my notes say, but, and then the other question was whether we have to put it out to bid or whether we can take one proposal that is the Butler building, I think is what he was talking about, that's just one proposal and go with that.
Mhm.
Which would be,
Yeah.
but the one that, he wasn't gonna really be willing to commit to that until he had seen it, not just online,
Oh.
but
Right.
to
So-
go and see it.
Yeah, but I know that he's, said he would go back to the committee and put together, I don't know if a proposal is the right word, but
Yeah.
it's a summary of the options to present to
Mhm.
us, so that we could,
Okay.
consider the building appearance and other, factors. So if that didn't make it in the last minutes, then maybe, note that Matt wasn't here to give an update, but we're still waiting on that.
Right, and I'm on the list for those committee meetings and I haven't heard anything about a meeting.
Probably not gonna happen till after Christmas.
Right, so maybe the minutes for this meeting were reflected, we're still waiting on that
Okay,
for the committee to come back with some presentation of alternatives.
Okay, other business, I have one thing. I had a note from Chief Smith that, please be aware I will be making a major purchase in the near future of 2 sets of turnout gear for our 2 firefighters attending the FF1 course. The instructor has ruled their gear is out of date and no longer compliant with NFPA. This will be approximately $5,000 for the 2. Also need to replace some hand lights and proximity lights. Cost to be determined. I'm looking for the best deal. I would think there'd be some kind of grant money for that kind of thing, wouldn't you?
what was the second thing?
For the second thing, he wants hand lights, and proximity lights. I have no idea what that would cost.
So what do you expect?
So $5,000. I'm not sure what he has in his budget.
Well, We need it, so.
Yeah. Any other business?
Motion to adjourn?
Okay.
Second.
Here's
Thank
your
you for the gift.
Christmas present.
Thank you.
My stalwart team here.
My supper.
Your supper, oh gee.
Well, I heard a motion in a second. You gonna vote on it?
Oh, we don't.
Oh,
We
you
don't
don't?
have to.
You don't
There
have to?
being
All
no
right.
further business.